Welcome to Conscious Coupling, where Frederic Gobeil and Christy Whitman share their experiences of creating a conscious, connected relationship. Every week, they give practical tools, steps, and processes to help you find the loving connection with your partner. Let's get into today's conversation with Frederic and Christy.
Hello, welcome back to the Conscious Connected Coupling. I'm Christy Whitman.
And I'm Frederic Gobeil.
And today we are going to be talking about how to listen, how to really listen, especially to your partner, but how do you listen? And this idea for this podcast came to me because I was literally relaxing on the couch, and Frederic and I were having some issues with our son Alex of not listening. He's a 10-year-old child. And it was great because Frederic just stopped and said, Alex, I want you to be present. And I'm going to hand it over to Frederic because what he was saying to him was he was actually teaching him how to listen. And I said, babe, that's brilliant, because most people don't get sat down to talk about how do you actually listen to someone. I teach coaches, I did for years, how to become a coach. And part of that process of becoming a coach is you have to deeply listen. So I thought about it and I'm like, yeah, coaches benefit so much in their, not only in the coach training, but also in what they learn, and all their relationships improve because now they're learning the process of how to actually listen. So I'd love for you to share what you were talking with Alex about because it was really brilliant.
So yes, keeping in mind that it is a 10-year-old, right? So it was basic.
It doesn't matter.
A basic lesson.
We're all 10-year-olds.
I guess we're all children inside,
exactly.
right? We don't know how to listen.
That's
we're
it.
just la 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 la. Especially as guys, sometimes we just go into the empty space. So what I was telling my son, because I was noticing that sometimes we would tell him something and he wouldn't really respond, and even when we were at soccer practice, I would notice his coach would tell him something, and he would just not even nod to him, right? And for me that kind of it irked me because I'm one to listen to what people tell me, the advice people tell me, and anyway, so back to us when I noticed that he wasn't necessarily listening to what we were telling him and not ordering him around, right? It's just telling him that, hey, maybe you want to have your socks picked up or put into the laundry area, and it wasn't done. So I was kind of looking at him,
watching him his eyes roll in the back of his head.
Not only that, not just rolling his eyes, he was kind of doing that, but he was just not there. He was, I could feel that he wasn't present with me or with you when there's communication going on. And so that prompted me to say, Alex, when we talk to you and we ask you to listen to what we say, you know what it means? Let me show you, or let me tell you what it means for me to listen to me when I talk to you. Is you've got to pay attention to my words. You've got to be connected with me and be fully present with me. So what would work is, first of all, looking at me, look at my eyes, looking at our eyes when we talk to you, so that you can get a sense of what we're asking or what we're telling you to do.
So pause for a second, because that part was brilliant, because it's like he was eating and he was messing around with a cup and that kind of thing. Think about in your couple, right? And I'm guilty of this too. When we're sitting there trying to talk to each other and my husband's trying to tell me something and I'm on my phone checking my Instagram or
watching TV, flipping the channels.
Or I'm going through emails. I mean, I'm not fully present with him, or he is doing the same and he's not fully present with me. So how to listen is you have to put the phone aside. You have to mute the TV remote or turn it off altogether. Put it aside and be able to turn and actually look at your partner, pay attention to their eyes, listen to what they're saying, but to be 100% in your body, present in that moment, not thinking about what you're doing in 5 minutes, not thinking about what you did yesterday or 5 minutes ago, but right here, right now, listening not only to the words, but also to the energy that is being communicated from your partner.
Right. And I get it. I mean, he is also guilty of doing what he does, in the sense of when we talk, he'll be kind of distracted with anything that's happening, whether it's TV that's on. He'll be distracted. He'll look at the TV. He'll be distracted with the dog. He'll be distracted with his brother. So that's what I was trying to help him out with, is when someone is talking to you, just acknowledge by giving them a look in the eyes. At least look at the mouth. That'll help too, if you're looking at the mouth, so you recognize the words at the same time. And so I was telling him, that's how listening is, Alex. When you focus on the person, then there's a connection, there's an eye-to-eye connection, and then both of you understand what's going on. You understand that you've just heard the message, right? And so then now you can reply, okay, perfect.
Acknowledge
after.
I hear you. That is one that diffuses stuff between us all the time, is I'm communicating something and he says, okay, I got it, I hear you, right? That acknowledges that I've been heard. So, one of the things too that we wanted to talk about is that when you're being the one that's communicating, in order to have the other person receive you in a way where they're going to be able to hear you and not be defensive. Like if Frederic was saying, you're never doing anything right, you're always got your clothes all over the place. Well, no one wants to be talked to like that. And it's very hard to stay present when someone's shaming you, and when someone's yelling at you, and when someone's coming out with full emotions, right? So it's both parties. That's the giver of the information, and then that's the receiver to be able to receive what's happening. So when you are the communicator, we've talked about this in other episodes, that you first want to check your own emotions. So what I felt was brilliant with what Frederic did with our son that day is that he wasn't coming from a place of, oh my God, Alex, you're so he didn't have any emotion around it. He was like, hey, Alex, look at me. Be present with me. Look in my eyes. Hear what I'm telling you. He was very calm. And in that calm space, I could see Alex.
He could hear. Right.
He was very calm in his space, and he was able to then receive him. So like if I'm super emotional or I'm upset, I'm going to tell another story in a different podcast of how I worked with my emotions when I was upset with Frederic recently. And, if I'm coming to him and I'm super angry and my anger is speaking, he's not going to be receptive to that emotion. So it's important to process that emotion when you are the communicator so that the other person can be present and be able to receive you. And really what we're talking about is coming from adult to adult. Because a lot of times our kids, we were talking about a 10-year-old, right? But how many of us have that 10-year-old inside of us?
Yeah.
And when we start to relate to each other as children to children, or maybe I'm playing the adult role and he's playing the child role, and now I'm frustrated as a woman to a man because I feel like my husband's a kid.
And now the man
and
is
vice versa.
And now the man is saying, well, you know what? I'm getting an order. I'm not doing this. I'm going to do it when I want to do this, not when I'm told to do this.
Right, being the rebellious adolescent to mom, right? So we want to, in our relationships, come from adult to adult and not child to child or adult to child. And we want to be able to process our own emotions, be able to communicate, think about what we are wanting to say to the other person so that the other one can be in receptive mode. So really check yourself. I mean, the checklist to be able to be present and to be an effective listener is you have to put all things aside, any distractions. TV's on, turn it off. Turn and, instead of looking at the TV and hearing them, yeah, you're not receiving it. So turn to each other, look at each other, be present with each other. And when you do that, you then are present, right? Check your own mind when you're having a conversation so that you're not thinking about, okay, well, what do we got to do on Tuesday, or what happened yesterday, so that you're in the now moment.
And make sure that, I remember I was telling him, Maxim, my son, I was telling him, make sure that you stay in your body when you listen. So staying in your body could mean that just take a few deep breaths so that you realize you're in your body, you're not steering away, you're not going away. And we tend to do that as well with our relationships. We'll take our relationship for granted in the sense that, it's she's there, she's always there next to me, right?
She's always there.
She's always there when I come back from work, and she'll talk to me about something, and then all of a sudden you hear the first two words, and then whoop,
it's like white background noise, right? It's the mom white background noise. It's the wife background noise.
And all of a sudden it's like, are you still talking?
I see your lips moving, but I don't know what you're saying.
And then you get that look. So that's the look where you've left your body. And then,
the eyes start fluttering above the head.
And if she sees that look, you're in trouble.
Well, that's another thing too. As you're in the receiving mode of something that is being said, right? Not only do you not want to fall asleep when someone's talking to you, when your partner's talking to you, but don't scoff at them. Don't be like, right? Don't make noises like that. Don't roll your eyes. I have a tendency of sometimes when I'm like, okay, whatever, I roll my eyes. And I have to be mindful, if he's coming to me with something that bothers him, that I'm like, you need to tie your shoe, bud.
I just saw that.
I know.
Doesn't matter. Let's continue.
that scoffing, that kind of sarcastic stuff, the eye roll. I mean, be present and act like you care, because you do.
Well, act like you're at work, right? At work, you're fully present.
Are they?
You're most of the time, most of us. I don't know.
Maybe you are.
At work, or during a meeting, you're asked to be present, to be focused, to be there.
Act like you're talking.
Why wouldn't you be there, fully present with your partner?
I was going to say, act like you're talking to the most important person that you could ever think to talk to, because you are. It's your partner. It's your intimate partner.
Act like you're talking like it was the first time that you guys met.
Right. And you're interested in her or him. Think of a celebrity that you want to meet. If you met that person, oh my God, you'd be hanging on every word that they said. Well, this is the most important person that you have in your life. It's your intimate relationship. So be present. Be fully present with yourself. That's what we always say. It always starts with you. Be fully present with yourself, and then be able to be present with your partner.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to share with that is don't interrupt.
Well, that's a woman thing, right?
No, it's not, mister.
Oh, it's true. But mainly,
that is so not right.
A lot of women,
a lot of men,
and some
too.
Men, right? But more women do not appreciate the fact that
nobody appreciates it.
Well, men come in the conversation when they hear their spouse kind of say something, and all of a sudden, and I'm guilty of doing that, the same thing. I come in when she's talking and trying to complete her sentence or finish what she's saying, or I'm trying to get what she's saying so that it's like fixing the issue. And she doesn't want any fixing of any issues.
No.
She wants me to listen
Yes.
to what's going on with her emotions. So it's like, zip it and just look at her and be present again and see how she's feeling.
Yes, and so he used to do that a lot in the beginning of our relationship, and I remember having to, hello, we train people how we want to be treated, we put up our boundaries, and immediately, since day one, I would say to him, I've just been interrupted, and I do not appreciate that. And he would stop, right? And then he would do it again, and I'd say, I'm being interrupted again, right? Instead of saying, you're interrupting me, right? It's like, I'm being interrupted. I have more to say on this. And then he'll be quiet and let me, And as I'm speaking, don't be sitting there going, tapping your, oh my God, how long are you going to talk? Is it like looking like, and then being in your head, thinking of what is the thing that I'm going to say next to solve this problem, and try to be like the fix-it MacGyver kind of guy. Like, okay, well, if I got to fix this thing, and she's going to want me to fix it. What do I have to do? Be present with what she's saying or what he's saying, so that you're not in your head thinking 10 miles down the road of what you're going to say next. Because if you're thinking about what you're going to say next, what your rebuttal is going to be, what your defense is going to be, then you're not being present.
Or just how to stop the conversation, to just end it there, because that's what we kind of tend to do. We have a certain amount of attention, and then we leave our body, or we go on to another thought. What's the score of the baseball game now? It's like this is, yes, we're having a conversation, but what do I need to do now? I want to go into another subject real quick. And so I think what's important is focus and stay there. Make sure that you stay with your partner and continue the conversation and have a great conversation together.
Yeah, you can't listen if you're speaking. You just can't. So,
No.
For more tips and information on how to get out of drama and into love and be able to be fully connected and conscious and loving with your partner, Frederic and I have actually completed now our 30 Days from Drama to Love program.
Woohoo!
Super excited about it. It's a great program. It's a video program every day for 30 days, just 20, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes 4 minutes. But it gives you each of the different aspects of being in a couple and being in the space of drama. So we are happy to say that from dramatolove.com is
available.
Open. And this 30-day program, you'll have the introductory video that tells you about it. You just click the link below, and access is yours to these amazing, content-rich, life-changing videos. Watch them by yourself if your husband or wife doesn't want to watch them with you, because as you're implementing it, the relationship is going to change. As you watch it with your partner, it changes exponentially. So from dramatolove.com, and thank you so much for listening to us today.
Thank you for being with us and listening to our stories.
Absolutely. So next episode, we are going to talk about the 3 blocks to having love in your relationship. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Conscious Coupling with Frederic Gobeil and Christy Whitman. If you like our show and want to know more, check out ChristyWhitman.com. And please leave us a review on iTunes. Learn how to turn your partner into your soulmate. Join us again next week for another powerful episode.